You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Both days. The high tomorrow 81, the high Friday at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a hump day edition of Inside the Locker Room. Even though we took Monday off, it is the Wednesday edition of Inside the Locker Room. The phone number is always 205-342-9904. Feel free to go ahead and dial us up now. If you want to follow us on the X accounts at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, at Wimp Sanderson 1. We will tweet out the picks. So we're due this week to hit some picks. Doug Bell's picks are out. And actually we kind of like Doug's picks. Well, we told him that. We'll see how he does. And then we'll pick on him accordingly next week. But hopefully he'll go 3-0. I don't think Doug's ever gone 3-0. Download the Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone and you can take us with you anywhere you go. Tonight, you got Hey Coach. I know Coach DeBoer will be out there with Chris Stewart, and those guys will have a great show. They always have another coach. Sometimes, like last week, they brought a player out there, so stay tuned to who will be out at Baumhauer's Wings tonight. Before we get started, though, we want to thank Yellowwood Pressure-Treated Pine from Great Southern. Always remember, guys, if you're going to build the fence, the deck, the pergola, you want that 5-star backyard, then you want to use Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. And always remember, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you don't want it. Good morning, Chase. Good morning, Dad. How are you guys this morning?
We're doing okay. We slid Max over from Monday to Wednesday because of Labor Day, so he'll be our first guest at 7:30. And Bill, of course, Cameron will be on our show at 8:15. So those are two good guests today. When you look at the SEC football schedule, the better games are early, 11 o'clock games. Fox and ABC, Arkansas and Oklahoma State should be decent. Texas and Michigan, the ones they're talking about. And then the rest of them throughout the day outside of South Carolina, that Kentucky game, which will be a 2:30 game on ABC and ESPN Plus. If you have DirecTV, right now you're not getting ESPN, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, we go down to the very bottom of the schedule with, I don't know, Houston, Oklahoma's a very big game. Houston's not very good. Mississippi State, Arizona State should be a decent game, and that's your 9:30 game. You're on ESPN. ESPN there if you can pick it up. I think the only one thing I could say is that beating people bad is important now. If you look at, they start saying the top 25 and giving all that malarkey this early, but Oregon slides down because they had a tough time with their game, didn't run the score up, or maybe weren't able to run the score up. I didn't see it, but weren't great. So when you slide a little bit and you get concerned with that, you try to do everything you possibly can, regardless of who you're playing, to run that score up as much as you possibly can. Of course, Florida's out of the top 25 and should be. Quarterback from at Miami certainly played well. So you're going to see some people sliding out. Outside of that, the SEC did announce that player availability will be announced before each basketball game in the SEC. And most of you realize that is for the gambling purposes, for wagering, so that you can decide whether you're going to wager on a particular team by knowing whether that team has all their players available. We welcome your calls if you have some comments that we didn't go through yesterday, or whatever you might want to say. I didn't see a whole lot there today, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Look forward to we got Max, and then obviously we'll have Bill Cameron in the second hour, big game, Auburn. People were talking about this is the best receiving corps that they ever remember Auburn having. So we'll ask Bill his thoughts about that. Dad, with the new NIL, and I'm sure Miami paid a lot to get that quarterback, and he was probably worth it. I don't know what Florida State paid for DJ, but they probably want a refund right now. I think there's a lot of people that probably paid to retain their players. Arch Manning's making a pile of money now. I think Jalen Hurts and these guys are doing really well here at Alabama. Back when these guys were just getting scholarship, people did complain and criticize them. Now that they're making big money, if DJ's getting big money, which we think he is, these guys, does that open themselves up to more criticism? Do they have to be able to handle it now if you're going to get paid like an adult or much more than an adult? Is it okay to criticize these guys when they don't perform and when they're making this much NIL money?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know what the NIL rules are. I know you mentioned the other day about giving them X amount of dollars, each one of them. I never did see that announced. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was announced and I didn't see it. I don't know. I think the best thing for these guys to do if they're struggling but getting big money, stay away from the internet, and to stay away from people as much as they possibly can. I don't think that it's ever very public, and you can correct me on this. I don't think it's ever very public as to what these guys got. There is speculation. There is people that want to write stories, and we're when they don't know anything about anything. Yesterday, it broke some silly story that Brady was going to be the new football coach at LSU. When you read the article, you thought LSU coach was gone. And you got to the article, and there's some goober trying to get you to read it. I fell for it. So I would say on the NIL situation, you just take whatever you can get, but I think you're very careful not to be, I think as the head coach, you go back to your people who evaluated the people that you took, and I think you have a shut door meeting with them. Let's be darn sure that we evaluate the kind of people they can play. Now, undoubtedly at Miami, a lot of people wanted this kid, and Miami paid through the kazoo to get him, I would imagine. And I don't know about the kid at Florida State, the way he's played. Nobody's after him much. I don't know what the deal was.
Well, I think they must have paid him. He was at the Oregon State, and
they did pay him. I don't know to what extent.
I guess my question is now, if you're getting paid like that, then I guess you're open to criticism. It was a playful thing, but it was on Facebook. I saw where they said Waste Management, which is the trash company, was representing
know about that.
DJ because he's trash. So then that's not true, but I'm saying that's some of the things that you're going to get. All right, if you were coaching, say you were coaching at Alabama, I would say a great point guard or a great big guy, maybe a Mark Sears equivalent to a quarterback, I guess. And you didn't if you were Clemson or if you were Florida State now, Tennessee doesn't seem to worry about paying for a guy. What is a top tier, a top 10 NCAA quarterback worth now these days with the new NIL? What is he in the open market? These agents are putting these numbers together now, and what the top guys are getting, that's what these guys are worth. I
think you're worth $1 million.
Isn't that amazing?
But,
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you're worth $1 million. I don't think you're worth $1 million just to go in and hand them $1 million. I think your thoughts to them are very careful when you visit with their parents and with their high school coach. Is that we feel like we can give you $1 million if things work out well. Now that what have I said? I haven't said I'm going to give you $1 million a month, but I'm going to give you $1 million over your playing time if things work out well.
When you say $1 million, you're meaning $1 million for a season?
Yeah.
Man,
well, not necessarily for a season. It might be in some cases. Now we pretty much know that the guy at Miami dealt out piles and piles of money for basketball players, and they got darn good. Beat Auburn, got in the Final Four once. They've done really until this past season, and they didn't do so well. But I'm guessing, and I'm saying something that I probably shouldn't be saying because I don't know it. I'm guessing that they called on him to get the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's, well, I don't know, but I mean, evidently somebody that keeps up with Clemson told me, in Florida State, ACC guy said that, they outbid Florida State for him to get him, and, they got the right one. So now you're going back in your meeting and you're sitting there saying, well, do we want to be like Dabo and just develop within, or do we want to go and buy us? I mean, what if Arch Manning, which nobody knows how good he is, everybody thinks he's good. If his agent put him on the open market and let it be a bidding, what would he get? He's getting like several million now. He's not even playing.
Well, I think he's in the process of where he's keeping the quarterback family. The quarterback family, he has a quarterback family, satisfied by moving him along slowly. He's not quite ready. We've got a very good quarterback there now. We certainly want to keep him. He's the quarterback of the future. We're going to pay him like he's the quarterback of the future, but he's not going to be worked in quite as quickly as maybe some people think. I think that's the case with him because they do have a quarterback family and they do understand more quickly than just a regular mother and daddy. Probably what happened, Barry, I will guess in talking again, is that both Florida State and Miami went after the kid at Miami, and when they got beat, they got the kid at Morgan State. So he was a secondary kid. We can't get this one, we'll take this one. And the drop down and the difference in the two. Now, I'm going to tell you, I listen to a lot of football shows, and other people say that the surrounding people around Miami are very good. That they haven't won big. They've lost some games people thought they should win, and they hadn't coached them as well, people say, as they should have, and maybe that's true. When Coach got on there to pick that game, he said, I don't know, sort of something like this. I sort of hate to pick one because both the coaches work for me.
Yeah.
And he led that, and that was a good thing to say, of course.
Yeah. Well, Alabama has been blessed with great quarterback play. But you look at, after Johnny Manziel, has Texas A&M really had a good quarterback?
No,
somebody that jumps up.
They really had Johnny Manziel.
Has Florida had a good quarterback here lately? Somebody really jumps. Has Clemson after Trevor Lawrence? So they had a quarterback in there. So these teams are missing on quarterback play. They have a lot of money to offer. So I don't know. 2 Minute Truck. They're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. It's local, out of town, out of state, no problem. Let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. 205-247-5050. That is 2 Men in a Truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. Juan Laws has been indicted by a Madison County grand jury for the shooting death of Huntsville police officer Gary Crumby last year. Crumby spent 8 years with the Tuscaloosa Police Department before moving to the Rocket City. He died in a gun battle while responding to a domestic disturbance call. Crumby was laid to rest in Tuscaloosa. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is just peachy outside right now. We're not dealing with any accidents or stalled cars and very minor delays inside the construction zone. McFarland Boulevard, both east and westbound between Jack Warner and Lurleen Wallace, you do have that long-term road work. And bridge work on 2059 westbound may slow you down.
Day savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid August 22nd through September 11th. U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partly sunny today with only a small chance of a shower through tonight. The high today 87, tonight's low 68. Tomorrow and Friday cloudy with periods of rain both days. The high tomorrow 81, the high Friday at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Where the season never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Pressure Free Pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have a yellow tag on it, you don't want it. You know, you get shocked, like when Nick Saban came to Alabama 17 years ago, and they gave him, a $4 million contract, all the money guaranteed. I think it was, I don't even know how many years it was, 8 years, whatever it was, you know. That was shocking. Now you got Lane Kiffin making $9 million. DeBoer over $10 million. Like, it doesn't even shock you anymore. You look at these NFL quarterbacks, they're making 50-something million a year. And when that first started happening, it just blew everybody away. So where is it going to go with these college guys? You know,
for football, they're not complaining for some of them now. They're not complaining for Nick. There were a lot of articles written, including some people I think have been on our show, articles about what in the world are we doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that didn't, now, with the players, we don't seem to be as tuned in. A little bit of our player knowledge is guesswork. We get on radio shows that we say we heard, or somebody calls in and says they tell them. It's a little bit of guesswork. We don't know how much they're getting, but we know they're certainly not going for free. And Johnny Vaults of this world at Ole Miss, who you don't know, but Johnny Vault's a great coach at Ole Miss, would pass out.
Yeah, you know, we'll get to the phone lines here. You got Alabama; they're helping, which is fine. I'm old school. But the two freshmen, Mbakwe and Ryan Williams, with a podcast, so they got the stuff set up for them. They got a new podcast, and so they've done one episode. It was like a 17-minute episode. It's basically just two guys sitting around talking.
Now, who is that? Who's
the
that?
freshman wide receiver and the defensive back that play a lot. So they got over 10,000 followers now, because Alabama football was pushing this podcast for these guys. So when these followers keep getting up, they're going to be able to cash in on that. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Tom? Is Tom turned up? All right, maybe Tom had to go. All right, back up to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hope y'all are doing good today.
We're okay.
Good. I'm doing good. Thank you, sir. Let's don't write off LSU just yet.
LSU played good. I don't know why people are just trashing LSU and saying Brian Kelly can't coach. And although they played well, they made the game could have gone either way there. So I would certainly not write off LSU, no.
Tough loss, but looking at their schedule now, they host. They got to play Nicholls State this weekend. They go to South Carolina, definitely winnable. They host UCLA, definitely winnable. They host South Alabama, definitely winnable. They're off on the 5th of October, and they host Ole Miss on October the 12th. Now, that's a hugely critical game, not only for Ole Miss, but for LSU. LSU pretty much can't lose again and make the playoffs, in my opinion. I think that'll be really hard if they're 10-2. That's going to be tough on them. Doable, but tough.
Well, they need they got to be USC fans for the rest of the year. They need USC to go on and have a great year.
Yeah.
You know, those are the teams that beat you. You need those teams to have great years. That helps you.
That's right, and then you got to do your part and not lose games. So they have got a pretty good schedule now. They've got some challenges on the road. They got to go to Arkansas, got to go to Texas A&M. But from what I saw out of Texas A&M, that's an LSU win, even though it's there. At Florida, definitely probably an LSU win. Then they end up with Vandy, and they host Oklahoma. Both those teams at home, so they've got a very, very good opportunity here to stand pat and make the playoffs. But Barry, what I want to talk to you about too was I think Jeannie went to the game the other day, right?
She did.
It was an interesting environment. We got there a little bit on the early side, and the quad was quiet. Went over to the Ferguson Center and got a few things over there, and it was quiet over there. All those tables up on the third floor where the restaurants are were basically empty, and you could sit anywhere and watch the Georgia Clemson game in peace and quiet. Pretty much, it was pretty dead. And then the rains came and rained for about 3 solid hours, and I was afraid that the turnout was going to be pretty subpar because it was just everything was sort of dead and not very lively on campus. But let me tell you something, Barry. Right there at the stadium, as soon as we came in off Sorority Road off Colonial Drive, it was a madhouse. It was a complete madhouse. It was a huge crowd, which caught me off guard because everything was so quiet leading up to that. The atmosphere, once you got in the stadium and had all the stuff on the Jumbotron, was great. Mark Ingram had a segment on the Jumbotron that was very exuberant, very exciting to see, and got the fans fired up. So I really think this coming Saturday is going to be a great environment. It should be star-studded. I just think things are a different vibe over there right now. I think the players are loose, good chemistry. Alabama's going to be a tough team to put out. They're going to be a tough team.
Yeah. They were telling me that the students, I guess to get in on the student side, they only have like one gate. They thought about when you go into the other way, you can go into any gate, but the students getting in, they said they got to fix that.
So, Philip, you've backed off your 3 losses?
Well, three losses, you're not getting in. You are not.
But did you say Alabama? You've been saying Alabama's going to lose 3 games.
Yes. Yeah. I'm back. Yes, I have backed off that.
Okay,
I backed off.
I wanted to be sure of that.
So Western Kentucky game. Now remember, last year Alabama played great against Middle Tennessee, and Milroe was absolutely outstanding. And then they went down a little bit, right? Against Texas, and then they had a stinker against South Florida. Then they started building their team. Like, I don't think they're going to have that problem this year, quarterback wise, because they've committed to Milroe from the beginning, which they should have. So I don't think they're going to have that lull that they had last year.
No, I backed off of it. I'm not saying it won't happen. I've just backed off. I will say that I love the play where Milroe has sort of an option keeper where he scored that touchdown the other day, did the quick fake pitch, and then he was gone. His touchdown run was a little bit different, but still, it showed just what he can do. Now I know that was Western Kentucky, and it wasn't Georgia he was doing that against, but he provides a unique package for the Crimson Tide that most teams don't have. And he can throw the ball, got some really good receivers. The running backs look good. Got to get Proctor back. But Alabama's going to be a tough out for a lot of teams. And I think DeBoer's he's going to be a really, how should I say this, a guy that kids are going to want to play for.
Yeah, I get that. I think he is.
Ain't no doubt about that. I think you're going back. I think you're backing off of your scared situation at Wisconsin.
Yeah, but don't, Phillip. Just you got to go 1 week at a time. You're getting too far ahead of yourself. Now, T.J. Finley was a bad quarterback.
Oh my heavens!
I mean, bad. We can rant and rave, but I mean, he was a bad quarterback. So we'll see. I don't know how much better South Florida is. They did whip Bethune-Cookman. What do you know about South Florida, Phillip?
Well, early in the season, it's been a couple months ago, but I was, looking over all the teams that Alabama played and just teams in general, and I can't remember where I saw it, but I've got a photo of it on my phone. I'll try to find it, but somebody rated the offenses of all the college football teams coming into the season, and South Florida had a very, very high rating by this guy. I'm pretty sure I got it on my phone. But their offense was considered one of the top 15 in the nation.
Well, they scored 48 on Bethune-Cookman, so we will see. All right, so you're backing up off the cliff then. You don't have Alabama 3 losses now. I like it.
No, but it won't take much for me to get back on the cliff. but I think that Alabama Alabama and Georgia, that could be what if. We just don't know right now. Clemson couldn't make a play. Their defense got exhausted. Their quarterback could not make a play. There were several times where they had manageable third down and short situations, and he kept the ball on a couple of those plays and got stuffed both times.
Yeah.
So Clemson, if they could have made some plays, that game might have gone different. They just couldn't do it. They could not do it.
Yeah. Thank you, Phillip. We got to get to Max. Appreciate you, sir. All right, take a break here. We'll get to Max Howie. That's the Tide 100.9, 1230 AM, WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is just peachy outside right now. We're not dealing with any accidents or stalled cars and very minor delays inside the construction zone. McFarland Boulevard, both east and westbound between Jack Warner and Lurleen Wallace, you do have that long-term road work. And bridge work on 2059 westbound may...
Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence dyne test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker. I noticed you didn't get a call from Mac last night. It was a late game, but our little flag football team got humbled last night. So when they were walking off the field last Tuesday, their head were in the clouds. That we had to drag them out of there last night. So he saw the other side. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then you don't want it. All right, we normally have Max Howell on Mondays. Max, former assistant coach, Ole Miss, Florida State, radio personality throughout the Southeast, joins us during football season. Everybody excited about it. Max Howell, good morning, my man. How are you?
Hey, Max. Doing great, guys. How y'all this morning?
Fine. Give us your opinion of SEC football this first week. Any teams you thought were good, disappointing, or whatever?
13-3, 7 teams scored over 50. I think you need to look at the teams that lost. Yeah. Texas A&M, I thought Mike Elko's offense looked pretty good. They still got to do some work on the defensive side. LSU played a good ball game right down to the wire, and I think Southern Cal will be better than a lot of people thought. But I think the big kick was Florida. I don't know. I think I've said it on your show last year. Billy Napier came in there with all the hoop hurrahs, but I've coached at both levels where he is. I coached at Troy, won a national championship, and I ended up at Florida State, where we're number one in the country most of the year. And it's that difference between coaching at those two levels. People that hadn't done that, Coach, you've been there. Yeah. You guys understand the difference in responsibility, and think you get more distracted, and I don't know. I thought they made a bad mistake. And I talked to a lot of Florida folks, and they had told me earlier in the year that basically that he was going to be safe this year, and I don't believe it. I think after that, that was the worst opening loss in the history of Florida this past weekend. And even though he got a lot of publicity about bringing in great kids, they didn't perform. So that's got to go back to the coaching staff. But overall, from top to bottom, I think the conference is going to be good. I love what Texas is able to do. They go to Michigan this weekend. I think we'll get a good read on how good they really are. But I think the conference, with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas, I think it's going to be actually stronger. We're not going to see any more weekends with, 7 games that are over 50 points. We're getting the next couple of weeks. We'll get into the real schedule.
Max, if the way college football is now, if you're a recruiting coordinator at one of these schools, I'm talking the Florida, Texas A&M, or even Tennessee, you got to have great quarterback play. You got to have good quarterback play. You look at the teams that don't have good quarterback play, and for some reason, Texas A&M cannot get the quarterback situation right. It hasn't been right since Johnny Manziel. I don't remember Florida really having a good quarterback down there. Miami went out and got one. What would you say to staff being like, hey guys, we got to go get us a guy? If you didn't have a young guy coming up, an Arch Manning or a Ty Simpson, It was amazing. What would Ty Simpson be worth right now to Florida State? What would they pay to get rid of DJ and get him?
Sure.
What is the going rate for a top 10, top 15 quarterback in NCAA football now? What do you have to pay to keep the guy you got or go get somebody you don't have?
What bothers me is who they take.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I call him ukulele. He couldn't play at Clemson. I mean, that's why Dabo didn't let him go. And then Mike Norvell them grab him up like he lost 40 pounds and he's going to be the next coming. I don't understand that. I'll be honest with you guys. There's a miscommunication between what the head guys get if he's got his offensive plan down and the players is going to take. Some of them, and you guys know this, some of them got such big egos, the coaches do think they can coach them up. And I know there's been a few cases like that, but to me, that's a philosophy. You know what your offense can do, and you got to go find a guy. It's a lot easier today than it was when you just took high school kids and have to develop them. You can go find somebody that's got, and we saw some evidence that this past weekend. But what does it take? It takes a good game plan, first of all, but it takes somebody that's confident in what they got and can know where to go get the guy.
Well, what are they worth now in the open market? Because they're all in the open market now, Max, right?
Well, yeah. You want me to tell you some numbers? You know who the highest paid NIL guy in the country is right now?
I'm gonna guess Arch Manning, but or the guy in Tennessee. I don't who.
No, it's Deion Sanders' son.
Yeah, well, he's good.
How about $4.7 million?
Yeah,
and then you go from there. Most of the others, Jackson Dart at Ole Miss is like 1.3. Most all the quarterbacks in that million, if they're perfectionists and they can get the job done.
Yeah,
and I mean, you can't tell me they don't already have agents. They already know somebody that can do.
Those agents are salivating, Max.
I know it. And negotiate. Well, of course, Arch Manning came out now. He came out of high school with $3 million.
Yeah.
And in Texas, I think Texas matched that or doubled it or whatever. But anyway, that's in the real world today.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can't sit back and say that's good or bad. Because I think we're going through a transition. There are going to be some new rules come out next spring. I've already got some insight on that. I think they're going to cut the recruiting down to just one. You can transfer one time after fall, and that about a week in January, and that's it. And I don't know whether they're going to put a cap on the money or not. But there are going to be some changes in that. It has to be.
Yeah.
Because some teams are going to move so far ahead. The other groups are never going to catch up.
Yeah.
And, that's what they were supposed to do is equalize the playing field.
Yeah.
I think you're going to answer this question a couple of ways. I think you're going to hedge on it and say yes, and then you're going to say no.
Okay.
Kalen DeBoer personality very, very positive. Very positive. Nothing. Don't fuss at anybody that jumps off sides or anything. A little bit like Bobby Bowden. Now I know behind the scenes, maybe Bobby. That's the reason I'm asking the question. Bobby Bowden was very Christian-like, nice guy. Didn't everything everybody loves, and they got trophies on all that jazz moraz. I think this is a great question. Is the Caden DeBoer factor a lot like Bobby Bowden, or am I dead wrong?
No, I think you're right. I think, but let me tell you where Coach Bowden was. Coach Bowden, this was my favorite. I need to go change on me. Go ahead. I was with Coach Bowden a couple of years, so I know. Yeah. What you see with him is what you got. But guys, let me tell you, Coach Bowden just set the steam. You go down and check his assistant coaches, Mickey Andrews, Chuck Amata. You talk about those guys would grab you by the throat at breakfast. I'm telling you. The kids knew that. So that's now I don't know about Coach DeBoer's assistant coaches.
I'm not sure they grab you by the throat at breakfast.
They get after you though. They got passion.
Okay. Go ahead, there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Max.
But no, I think I don't know those guys that way, but I think if you have, my only experience in that was with Coach Bowden. Is what what you see is what you got, but again, I evaluated everything from there down. When the assistant coach brought a player to Coach Bowden's office with a suitcase, it was all over. I mean, he was gone. He was just there to say goodbye because there was no negotiation. Coach Bowden left. Look, I was on that staff 2 years. Coach Bowden never came to a defensive meeting. Mickey handled the whole thing from day one. We'd go in on Monday morning after we worked all Sunday night. Yeah, and we'd say, Coach, here's what we got. And he'd look at you and say, can we win with that? Mickey said, that's why we put it together, Coach, and that's it.
Well, I think it's the same thing. It's going to be interesting to me, just because of coaching, is that when things go really sideways, they can go sideways at Wisconsin. Everything has stayed so positive, and I'm not knocking that. I think that's great, but I think Bobby Bowden one time practiced his team after a loss.
Let me tell you, 1988, we were number one in the country in Florida, Miami, and we get our eyes beat out. We come back in. It was a night game. We get back into Tallahassee about 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, boys, evidently we didn't get the message. Go put your uniforms back on. And we scrimmaged till the sun came up. Yeah. And after 2 in the morning, and we scrimmaged till the sun came up, and we went 11-0 after that. So sometimes, you got to speak to them in terms they understand.
Well, I'm not knocking Coach. I just thought it was an interesting scenario with those two guys.
It is. Good. I think it's a good correlation, but I think down here we've got to wait and see. Alabama's got to be challenged, and they really played well the other day. My only comment about, and we'll move on, Barry, just a minute, but my only comment about what happened at Alabama, I don't ever remember seeing Coach Saban play 3 quarterbacks, not in a game.
Yeah, very like that.
Yeah, he plays his depth, which Coach. If you have any criticism of Coach Saban, he would not play. I mean, he put the backup quarterback in there when it was just hand the ball off time. He wouldn't let him run the. I don't think you can do that now, Max. This guy's a transfer.
No, I keep everybody happy, Barry.
Yeah.
Well, you got to keep recruiting them every day almost.
Yeah, it's overreaction after the first week, right, Max? I mean, surely.
Yeah.
Some of these things aren't as good as you think they are. Some aren't as bad. I look back when Bo Nix left Auburn, he went to Oregon. Where was his first game? Against Georgia? And they made him look absolutely pitiful. Bo Nix is going to start in NFL this first weekend. Right. So what is it about Georgia? 40 straight regular season games they won. What is it about Georgia that makes these quarterbacks look so average, Max?
Two things they got, guys. They got great talent and they coach well.
Yeah.
I mean, you guess Kirby right now, and he'll say everything he learned came from Coach Saban, and that's what that's the defensive side of the ball. But you got to start with great players. And that's why I think Georgia's rightfully so number one in the country, and I don't see anybody beat them, not yet.
Good. Yeah, this is a good interview. Real good.
Well, I think Can Brian Kelly? I thought LSU played a really good game. All right?
They did,
but they. The guy scores the touchdown, then he has the gyrations. Now, I mean, kids are going to be kids sometimes. Does he have discipline in that program? He was very frustrated after the game, obviously, because they lost the opener, a game that they probably should have won. Is it just Louisiana kids? I don't know where that kid was from, but what's the culture at LSU right now, Max?
I think the mixture of what they have and where they recruit from. I think I'm not saying you can't straighten it out. I think they were better coached overall through, but at the end they lost the composure. That targeting call was right. The guy went after his head, and I don't think there was anything wrong with that. But the fact is you go back and look at how they recruit them and how they go with them. Sometimes I wonder though about coaches that if you would. You watch the coaches on, like at LSU, you watch him stand over on the sideline with his arms crossed and very little interaction. And I know some coaches coach that way during the ball game. But when the game's not going well, I just think the head guy needs to be involved somewhere to be sure that meant, particularly early in the season when they hadn't worked against anybody but themselves. And they think they got the game plan down, and a lot of times they don't. But back to answer your question about LSU, they recruit kind of a edge guy, a borderline guy, emotionally, and I think you got to ride her on them hard. I thought the defense was a little bit better than it had been. The quarterback situation not quite as mature as it was last year, but the guy they had won the Heisman, so I think they got room for improvement, and I think they will be. But that was a tough loss for them, but no.
Yeah.
I think I'm interested in watching the Alabama, and I'm not. I think this guy's a really coach. And boy, everything was positive from the people. The way he got them ready. He got them ready.
Sure.
I'm not going to go into all that, but he got them ready away from the field.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting to me to see if games like the Wisconsin's and these other big games, if that turns a little bit towards, you offsides 2 times in a row, get out of there and get somebody else in there, that kind of thing. It's going to be interesting to me, just from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, I understand that. Me too, Coach. Just to watch. And you're right. Everything went their way this time, but of course, I think we got to look at the quality of the opponent also. Sure. But that's going to get tougher as they go down the road. Oh, and by the way, I just pulled up. Alabama opens with FSU next year in Tallahassee, so I can't wait to see that one. We'll get a good read, but we got to get through this year first. And
sure.
And I think we got some really good. I think the polls that just came out are pretty year right where we are. I think Alabama's 5 or 6. Ole Miss is 7. I think that's. To me, those are 2 teams I'm going to really be interested in watching.
Max, I need your help with something. I got a bet with a guy here locally, and he's got to have to cut my grass and everything for a year if Ole Miss will lose 3 games. They have to lose 3. Do you see 3 losses on this schedule? And then has Lane Kiffin gone out and matured on this, Max? It looks like he has a little bit.
4th and 4, he's going to run it.
Will he still go for it on 4th down? I know he's not drinking anymore.
I think the whole key to it is if Dart stays healthy. If Dart stays healthy, they'll win 10 or 11.
Oh, Max.
Yeah. I don't think they can. I don't think
got a weak schedule, Barry.
But they go. Georgia's really the toughest thing they got.
They got to go to LSU now. That ain't easy.
Well, they beat them last year.
Yeah.
So
I don't count to 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see them losing 3 unless Dart goes down. Now, if Dart goes down, guys, that whole offense is built on him, and Lane knows that. So I think they'll do all they can to protect him. They'll get him out of there. When they get ahead, he'll substitute his quarterback.
But Lane is known for losing when he's not supposed to lose, though, right, Max?
That is true. Yeah. That is true. But I think he's got a better material versus his schedule that he has had. I think the defensive side of the ball, he's got I saw a list the other day that if they had the Senior Bowl right now, they got 21 kids on that squad that would have an opportunity to be invited to the Senior Bowl. They never had that kind of talent before.
All right. I got great questions. I always give good questions.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Tell me if the quarterback at Auburn has the ability to get the ball to the 4 great wideouts that they have. Now, don't give me no Alabama A&M crap. I mean, is he good enough? Because I got a blue plate I got to figure out. Is he good enough to get the ball to the people, or do you know yet?
My observation on it is his offensive front. Are they good enough to keep them off from him?
Okay.
And I'm not talking about for 6 seconds, but they got to keep him off from him for at least 4. Because he doesn't read quick, and that's just my observation. He doesn't read them real quick, but he's capable. But guys that with a passing offense trying to build a program like that, you better build that offensive front first before you go find a quarterback to put it back there behind him.
Okay.
Yeah. Could Ole Miss lose at Arkansas? I'm trying to look at this schedule here. Yeah. God, they got South Carolina look terrible, Max.
I know they did.
They got to go there. I thought that might be a loss. They got Oklahoma at home. Can Oklahoma go in there and beat Ole Miss?
It depends. It depends on how Oklahoma plays, and it depends on Lane's preparation for them. Look, I think Kiffin does as good a job at. Coach Saban said, I believe he was the best play caller he'd ever had on his staff, and I think that he and Sarkisian, without a doubt, are probably the best too. But and Lane's cleaned up his personal act, and I think he's got everything going his way. Looking out ahead on the schedule, guys, we can't do that. We don't know about injury.
Yeah.
We don't know about attitude. Sure. There's a bunch of things that plays in. I think we got to take them 1 week at a time, and we'll see if there's a pattern in that thing about emotion and how the staff handles the team, getting them ready. How many times have you guys know you had better talent, and you go out there on the court and your kids, they can't throw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
Some things happen mentally to these kids, in particular with today's market like it is. I mean, it's a whole different game out there today.
Here's another great question before you go. At the end of the year,
he's high on his questions today, Max.
Yeah. I got
Max,
good
tell him his questions are not that good.
I got good questions. At the end of the year, do you have to reevaluate with every player how much money you're giving them?
I think so. Because if you don't, somebody else is negotiating with them also. If they're great players.
But those you want to get rid of, you coaches, don't give him.
Yeah, we're going to cut your pay.
Yeah, we're going to cut your pay in order for them to leave. That's right, Barry. For them to leave.
Yeah. I think that's where they go after today. Just say we can't re-up your contract like it was last year, based on performance.
Yeah.
My mama says I'm leaving. Okay, good.
Well, take her with you.
And that's who tells them. I'm telling you, that's right.
Yeah, but you're right. If you were one of the top guys, you'd be crazy not to have an agent, right, Max? If you're one of these top players. Yeah.
And that's because that's what it's become all about. I mean, didn't Coach Saban, wasn't that a quote that he told Miss Terry after trying to get them ready last year for the playoffs? He said that all the kids want to do is how much money you going to make.
Oh, sure.
And he said the game had changed that much, even with his top players. And so that is that's very evident. I don't think everybody in the country realizes that, but the guys that pay close attention to what's going on, that's today's marketplace. That's why somebody's got to step up and put some regulations on the money and the transfer portal. If not, it's just going to stay continued chaos, every year.
Yeah. All right, Max, what you cooking this weekend? You got any big deals going on this weekend?
No, we're still working on it right now. Everybody had a big Labor Day. In fact, I cooked for Sunday and for Monday this past weekend. So I'm going to kind of cool it right now to find about Thursday. Let's talk about it next week, what I did cook.
I always like to hear you talk about the Mississippi mud, and Dad always goes, every time you talk about that Mississippi mud.
Anybody don't know what that Mississippi mud pie is? Guys, that's a 4-layer chocolate cake we talk about the chocolate syrup and pecans between each layer.
You need to give him, Max, his questions are so bad you need to give him a fruit cake.
Yeah, my question. Hey, with my good questions and your good answers, this show's going a long way.
Yeah. He also told us last week that Pat McAfee was kicked off ESPN.
Well, I thought he was. I think they told me
Max,
he was.
He just makes up stuff.
He's out. He's out.
He makes up stuff.
He's out.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of folks that wish that would be true. I'll be honest with you. And I'm probably one of them.
I think Coach Saban likes him.
Oh, I don't.
I think it. I think this guy is so different from Coach Saban.
I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, let's ask him.
Oh, I'll ask him. No, I'm going to ask him behind the scenes. I ain't going to ask him on a radio thing. I'm going to ask him behind the scenes.
Max, you're the best. Can't wait to talk to you Monday. Have a great week.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you, guys. Always my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Max, we'll get you a fruit cake for those questions you were at. Chase,
I asked three terrific
were his questions that good?
My questions were terrific.
Chase.
They always are.
He just makes up stuff.
I mean, they're good. My question's terrific question.
Chase?
Bobby Bowden? Chase doesn't know who Bobby Bowden is.
Chase does. Chase
I'll guarantee you, Chase ain't never heard of Bobby Bowden.
Who's Bobby Bowden? Who's Bobby Bowden, Chase? Don't Google.
Huh?
Who's Bobby Bowden?
He's a college football, very legendary coach. I know he, very respected for sure. Did he coach at Florida State?
Yeah. Thank you, Chase. Smack him around,
looked it up.
Chase.
You ain't that smart.
He didn't look it up at all. Smack him around.
Swear, Coach, I didn't look it up.
Is he living, Chase?
No, he's not living.
There you go. Well, you did look it up. All right, Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. They brought you this 7 o'clock hour. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you don't want it. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier for a Thursday edition of the program. We're powered by Box Eye Care. We'll have the Alabama Legacy Collection score prediction contest. Tiebreaker, Jalen Miro, total yards against South Florida. We'll take those conversations as well as anything else that you want to talk about after week 1 victory for Kalen DeBoer. We'll have those conversations and a whole lot more. You can call us on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions hotline at 205-342-9904. It's the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, we got a little something in the roadway right now, and it's on 2059 eastbound at guess where? McFarland Boulevard. It's debris in the roadway. Don't know exactly what it is, but you do want to be careful, and it doesn't seem to be affecting your travels, or it doesn't seem to be slowing you down too much. Also, McFarland Boulevard on both the east and westbound lanes between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen Wallace. You've got construction zones there, and so keep that in mind. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is
Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence dyne test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
News from the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers and left tackle Trent Williams agreed to terms in a new 3-year deal worth $82.66 million, ending his holdout. He gets $48 million in guaranteed money and a $25.6 million signing bonus. In baseball games of note, the Yankees lose to the Rangers 7-4, and that loss drops Texas out of first place in the AL East. They're now a half game back at Baltimore with the Orioles shutting out the White Sox 9-0. That's 109 losses now on the season for Chicago. Guardians hand the Royals their 7th straight loss, 7-1 the the final. Twins fall to the Rays 2-1. So Cleveland now has a 4.5 game lead on Minnesota and a 5.5 game lead on Kansas City for first place in the AL Central. Dodgers defeat the Angels 6-2 in 10 innings. LA leads the major leagues with an 84-55 record. They have a 5.5 game lead on idle San Diego and a 6 game lead on Arizona top the NL West. NL East leading Phillies edge the Blue Jays 10-9. NL Central leading Brewers lose the Cardinals 7-4 in 12 innings.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Allstate Insurance agent Andrew Kniffer. Andrew's my agent. Let him become yours. Out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Don't just pay the bill. Give them a call today. They will set you right up. I made the change about 4 years ago. Been great for me. He'll do the same for you. 205-722-9201. All right.
All right, Barry, you're in the money. Tell me why they're giving a quarterback at Colorado over $4 million. How they doing it?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's probably got national advertising deals. I mean, because of Deion, the social media follows he has, and he's darn good. So
$4 million for him.
He's pretty good now.
I know.
All right, let's get to the Yellowwood Hotline. We'll talk Tuscaloosa Toyota with the main man Justin. Hey, Justin, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Well, Justin, how is Shedeur Sanders getting $4 million? They had a guy on tells he's getting $4 million NIL money. Is he worth it?
I'm like Wimp. I don't know what kind of, maybe they've changed maybe the money with Deion out there. I would think it got a lot of flair to begin with, but I can't see how, $4 million's a high number. I don't get. I'm like Wimp. I don't see it.
Well, I think they think he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks chosen. I think he's got probably some national ads, got a lot of social media following. And Deion's obviously all over social media. So I think they're working that side of it for very good. See how they do this weekend against Nebraska.
Barry, it's a non-football school. Really?
Yeah, but I'm saying like they've sold it out, and they had a great crowd Thursday night. And the attention, the stars that come in there now. You got Warren Sapp coaching over there. They got all those guys come in there. They get a lot of attention now. We'll see if they can win. Justin, how are we doing selling cars? We're just getting this month started. How's it going?
Man, everything's going, pretty sound right now. I mean, there's a lot of new inventory. We patiently await the 25 models right now. It's kind of a different kind of world in the car business right now as you wait 25 models and you close out 24 models. Toyota's extended. It's the deal that I probably hadn't talked to you guys about. If you are driving a Tacoma or a Tundra, there is an incentive right now. If you have one of those, and I've got a bunch of businesses, it's the end of the year or getting toward the end of the year, they start buying trucks and stuff, work trucks. So just yesterday, a guy is buying a Tundra for his business, got a Tundra in their business already, so it qualifies him for an extra $2,000 off the price of a Tundra. It doesn't matter what it is, regardless. Not only the savings you get up front, but then you get an extra $2,000 if you have one of those Toyota trucks sitting in your garage. So, or at your place of business. So it's a really good incentive on top of the fact that you can buy at stupid low interest rates right now on those trucks. So a really good time in the trucks. Trucks are flying off our lot right now. We sold, I think last month, Barry, we were 2 cars short of our 300 goal. We sold 298, but just let me tell you this, when you sell 298 cars, that's a huge number in our market, and we're thankful for our repeat customers and stuff, and to make it easy, all you got to do is jump on right there, TuscaloosaToyota.com, to see everything from renting, servicing, buying, whatever you need to do. If it pertains to Tuscaloosa Toyota, just jump online right there and you can get it done at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Yeah, I was supposed to tell you that my mother-in-law did cook us a meal last week. So when I talked bad about her on the radio, she did she said I didn't give her credit for that. But she came in, she bought a car from you. Y'all didn't have exactly what she wanted there, so she was willing to wait. I don't think it even took a week to get that in. So if you guys got on the lot, you can get it. If not, then you can go get kind of whatever they want. Talk about how that works, Justin.
Yeah, so I get asked a lot, Barry, why do y'all not have, just a ton of inventory out there? Because we sell it.
Yeah.
So, if you ride by somebody's lot and they've just got an overwhelming amount of new cars, guess what? That means they ain't selling them. So it's not a bad thing to ride by and say, well, golly, y'all sell all your Highlanders. Y'all say, sure. I mean, because that SUV, the RAV4 is the number one car in the United States. It's the number one selling vehicle in the United States. The Highlander's number one in its class. So as I've told you guys many times, we're not in love with anything on our lot. We don't want it to sit there as a show car. We price everything to sell it because we're not in love with it, and we get them gone. And that's what we want to do. And what a lot of people do is they see what's incoming, they choose their color, they choose their equipment, and they buy it before it ever hits the lot. So that's how she did it, and that's how a lot of people have done it. And so if it's not sitting there, it's incoming, we can get it, and we make it easy right there, and we price it in the way that we're not in love with it. We want it gone.
Well, how was it when Dad came in and bought that Venza? Was he hard to negotiate with?
No, I was easy.
No, cash money in a suitcase.
Cash money.
Yeah, cash money in a suitcase. Hey, and the car, and actually the Venza was sitting right there, and they drove it, and they loved it, and they bought it. And a lot of times, hey, that's what happens. I had an 85-year-old lady yesterday. She has a truck at home. Her late husband had passed away, and then she has an older car, and she traded both in yesterday. We've got a Corolla. She's just wanting a small car. We got a Corolla that's 3 days from being there. She came in. She said, I want a silver Corolla. And we've got one coming in 3 days, now 2 days, and she'll come pick that car up. She gets exactly what she wants, and she didn't settle for, kind of what's sitting there on the lot. So, like I said, you don't have to buy what's sitting there because we got tons of inventory incoming, and you can choose whatever you want. And like I said, we make it easy. We price everything to get rid of it.
I can see Dad, though. He probably came in there and drove it, handed you the suitcase, said, this is all I got, Justin. Take it or leave it. This is what I'm buying it for. So you have to count it out.
I tried 2 different cars.
You did?
He said your business office people's going to hate me. He said everything I got's in $10 bills.
Oh boy.
Ain't that right, Wimp?
No, crap.
He likes that hybrid. You don't even have to cut it off. You just leave it running.
Yeah, he can do the whole radio show right there from his car now.
He can go in there and watch an Alabama basketball game and keep it running. Not even
a couple of times.
Hey, I tell you what. Hey guys, I will tell you an interesting story. Every year, Nate Oates takes his team down to Soggy Bottom Lodge. Soggy Bottom Lodge is in Linden. Beautiful place. I mean, people go down there to have weddings. But it's thousands of acres of land, and Nate Oates takes the basketball team down there, and that's my biggest client at Tuscaloosa Toyota. He owns a big business that's in 19 states, and he bought 2 Tacomas last week. He's bought many vehicles, like tons. And
he needs to advertise on the show, Justin.
Yeah. Hey, look, they breed deer down there. People go and do hunts and stuff. Unbelievable. It is amazing. I took my wife down there. We rode through the land or whatever, not too long ago, but that's what Nate Oates took his team down. I think it was last weekend.
Yeah. And
they stay down for 3 days, and they do a lot of team building stuff, and that's where they were. You've probably seen clips and pictures and all of that kind of stuff. But that's down at Soggy Bottom Lodge, and those are fine, really good people. And they do a lot of things for the community. And but Nate took the team down, and they had a great time, and it's great team building, a lot of exercises and running and obstacle courses and stuff. But a good little thing they do, and they stay down for 3 days.
Yeah. Well, Justin, we appreciate it. We're going to get out and let you get selling some cars, but we'll talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Barry, how can I get that recipe that he talked about, that chocolate stuff?
Mississippi Mud, just text Max. He'll text it to you.
Well, your mother-in-law, somebody needs to make me one.
I just got a text from her. She was all excited I bragged about her finally cooking for once. All right, we'll take this break. We'll get Bill Cameron in. We'll find out, is this the best receiving core Auburn's ever had? That's a pretty strong statement after 1 week, but I heard somebody.
Quarterback, I got to find out because I know.
Saying that, I think this might be a blue play. This is Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, and we now have a situation on 43. We were doing well, but that had to change on this hump day. 43 on the southbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard. We do have an accident. It's going to knock out a lane. You've got bumper-to-bumper backups. Going to cost you a solid back to Flatwoods Road.
Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Conecuh Sausage, a true Southern flavor since 1947 and the official smoked sausage of the Crimson Tide. Buy online at ConecuhSausage.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On yesterday's episode of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we were joined by the SEC Defensive Player of the Week, Alabama defensive back, Keon Sapp.
The first interception, just eyeing the quarterback down, trying to give him different looks to make him feel like it's kind of a different look than he thought. Opened up a way he might have thought I was taking a guy in man and end up breaking off into, right into the pick. He kind of threw it right to me. Coach put me in a great position. We worked it all week. So it was a really good one. The second one, it was a little different. Another opportunity for the coach to put me in a really good position. And I just felt like I read the quarterback's eyes. He made it stay on the route a little too long, and I ended up jumping it and went from there.
Everybody on Swarm D wants that turnover belt. What did it mean when you got to lift it up? Not once, but twice.
Oh, it was amazing. Once I figured out the turnover belt was, I always wanted to get a chance to put it on,
I'll have more in moments.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. I can make a sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows. Now I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven. And everybody knows. That's how I get my grill on. Conecuh Sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
If you missed yesterday's episode of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR, catch it on demand on the CTSN YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion, Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Get right up to Yellowwood Hotline. He's with ESPN 106.7 The Drive down in Auburn, Opelika. Auburn, big game this weekend. We got the Cal Bears coming in. I think it's 2:30 game. So not sure it's going to be as hot as it normally is, which I know probably the Auburn football staff would like for it to be very, very hot for Cal. But good morning, Bill. How are you, sir?
Hey, Bill. Doing fine. Hey, guys.
Bill, I heard this morning somebody say, and you would be the one that could answer this, and it's probably not answerable right now, but they said this receiving core that Auburn has is the best in Auburn history. Now, it might be a little early to say that. Potentially, maybe. Your thoughts about that statement?
It is a very athletic group. We'll have to see. They're off to a great start. There's no question about that. But I mean, that there's some folks that would say, there was a group about a half a century ago led by Terry Beasley and Alvin Bressler and Dick Schmaltz that people may not have heard of that were pretty darn good, that had a quarterback wearing number 7 throwing to them. But this is probably the most gifted group that I've seen probably since then, and it may well be. But yeah, one game in, it's still a little early, but man, what a great start they got off to.
Yeah, that.
My question to you is, because I'm thinking hard about it, does the quarterback have the ability to get the ball to the open people? Now, I know against the game now, but in your opinion, in the future, not forget Saturday's game, does he have the ability to riddle people by getting the ball to these people?
I think he has the ability. Now we've got to just see, how does he handle the pressure that some of the teams bring? I mean, he can make the throws, and he has the. He's got the mental acumen to be able to do it. I mean, he's got that. Now we just got to see. I mean, he seems comfortable right now. I mean, he really does. We spent a little time with him yesterday, and he did. Last year he did not have the opportunity to change a play. I mean, Hugh Freeze was talking about it a little bit on Monday, and Peyton said the same thing yesterday. I mean, they've got some simple things going for them right now that they just didn't have a year ago. In that, I mean, all he has to do is be able to count to 6. If there's 6 guys in the box, they're going to run the ball. If there are more than 6, they're going to throw it. Alabama A&M kept sending an extra guy in the box. That meant it was going to be single coverage, and he was going to throw. Now, what Hugh said on Monday is, of course, when you run into a team that's good enough to stop the run with 6, that's going to be a bit of a change. But I don't think there is. I don't think there's a concern about his athletic ability to get it done.
One other question. Give our listeners, give me your thoughts on the offensive line. That's going to be big.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it still looks like the true freshman. Well, excuse me, the redshirt freshman Tyler Johnson's going to get the start again this week at left tackle. They really like Dylan Wade, guy who started at left tackle last year. They moved into left guard. Connor Lew, I think, is going to be an all-conference center. I think the offensive line, if the left tackle position can solidify or hold up there, I think they got a chance to be a much better offensive line. I thought that they were pretty good last year. They were improved last year, but it was sort of a piece together, first time guys working together sort of group. So I think they've got a chance to be pretty good across the front.
We're talking with Bill Cameron, ESPN 106.7, The Drive, down in Auburn, Opelika. Auburn had a ton of people go out to California last year and support the Auburn Tigers. I don't think Cal. I think they even asked one of the players that used to be at Cal that's at Auburn now, where they have a lot of Cal fans travel to Auburn. No. He said, just to be honest, no. I think for Alabama this weekend, South Florida played them tough, so I think that's going to help get Alabama's attention. I think the same thing for Auburn. Right. That was a tough, kind of an ugly game out there that they did win and got back. But that probably will help Hugh Freeze and his coaching staff have these guys ready to play. Not that they're not going to be ready to play the second game of the year at home, but those things all factor in, right? There was a tough game last year, so they should have these players' attention with Cal coming in at 2:30 on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity. I mean, Saturday didn't really prove anything except they could beat a team the way that they should beat a team because they were so much more just overmatched. They overmatched Alabama A&M. Cal's a team that Peyton yesterday said it was an ugly game and said really it had to be a boring game to watch and was one of the worst games that he could recall, but he was glad that Auburn had won it. And I think everybody that was on the team last year feels like, here's the first big opportunity to show that this is not last year's team because Cal's got a pretty good defense. They always play pretty sound, but they're also a team that likes to they'll like to play a lot of man, and we'll see if they continue doing that this Saturday. But yeah, you were talking when we came in. I mean, it's the fans are sure hoping that it's a little cooler than it was this past week. But then, yeah, I think the coaches would like it to be hotter. But Auburn should be. They should be able to handle Cal. I think the Sam Jackson, who you were talking about a while ago, the former Cal quarterback who's now a receiver, was talking with us yesterday, and he had some comments along with Jaden Ott, the running back from Cal last year, after the game, saying, "Hey, this wasn't the Auburn they expected to see." And Sam was saying yesterday he needs to let Jaden know before the game this isn't the same Auburn, and I think that's sort of what they want to show is this is not the Auburn team that they saw a year ago.
Yeah.
Based on what Oregon did, and they slid a little bit because they didn't play well, didn't score a lot of points, I have a feeling that every time you have a chance to run it up, you're going to. I just believe that because they're all looking at that top 25, top 20, top 12, whatever they're looking at. But I thought the Oregon thing brought me to attention that, we better score a bunch of points because if we don't, the way these guys are trying to decide who's who, it's important to run it up as much as you can. I don't know what you think. It looks like the margin of victory is going to be something that is considered. And now I'm not saying that you ought to keep your first teamers in there and continue to pile it on. But I don't think you're going to see an awful lot of teams stop doing what they can do well. And that's one of the things that Hugh was talking about. It's like, hey, they're trying to get everybody, ready to play in case you get somebody hurt. You want the next one to be able to do what you want everybody else to do. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you get the opportunity. It sort of goes back to the old statement Steve Spurrier made when people were asking him about it. He said, "Look, it's their job to stop us. It's my job to score."
Bill, will it be a sellout down there this weekend?
Oh, I think so. I was pleasantly surprised with the crowd that was here last week, and I think there were quite a few season ticket holders that weren't here last week, but they found a way to get tickets into some other folks' hands. I think the fact that the weather looks like it's going to be cooler now, of course, if there's rain, that could affect it a little bit. But no, I would expect there to be a big crowd because this is a lot more attractive game than the Alabama A&M, and let's face it, New Mexico next week, who's played better than people would have thought the first two games, is still not as big a name. So no, I'm expecting a full house again Saturday.
Bill, I asked Dad this to start the show. When we've watched these teams play this weekend, you watch Miami and they're like, wow. I don't know what they paid for Cam Ward, but he was worth it. And then you watch DJ Uiagalelei, who was not very good at Clemson, and you say, I don't know what they paid for him, but they need a refund on him. If you don't have that quarterback in house, what is a top 10 quarterback worth in this market now to go get? You look at the kid at Tennessee. I think they paid a lot to get him, and that was Chattanooga, but he looked pretty darn good. Jackson Dart looked good. I thought Texas A&M's quarterback was pretty average. Florida's just okay, and then of course Florida State. What is the going rate for a quarterback now in college football?
I don't know, but it may be a little more than it was. The way it appears. I mean, really, you see the difference in the way some of these teams look with different guys at the helm, and you're right. I would think that the market has probably been really good for prospective quarterbacks after the first full week of the season.
Yeah, and big time receivers. Just your thoughts about the SEC. A lot of people say, well, the bigger games other than Georgia, they lost. They beat up on all these bad teams, but it looks like there's pretty darn good teams in this league, Bill.
Yeah, I'm really interested. That Tennessee-NC State game going to be a really interesting battle of quarterbacks. NC State's pretty good defensively, but yeah, I want to see how Nico does against them. I tip my hat to the teams that played really, quality opponents there in the first week. You need to know what you've got before you jump in and do something like that. But Georgia still looks really, really good, don't they? I mean, we'll find out about some of these teams. Arkansas wins by 70, and we'll find out a little more about them when they go to Stillwater this weekend. But there's still a lot of questions because we don't know how good anybody is until they play somebody pretty good. So we'll get a little better idea this weekend, but it's still going to be a couple of more weeks, I think, before you really have an idea of where we right back in the preseason.
Yeah.
Two things, Bill. You got a lot of pull. How about how about getting this ESPN thing straightened out where I can watch the games?
Bill, do you have DirecTV?
Oh man, no, I do not. I am fortunate that I don't this time. Hey, I've had twice in the past had situations where we lost networks and ESPN and the SEC network. No, I'd recommend YouTube TV to you right now, but that's what I've got now. This really stinks when you're a subscriber and all of a sudden there's a disagreement and the sides are fighting. I can't believe it. I'm really surprised that it hasn't been settled already. I figured, you might make it through one day, but to get this is what, day 4 now without it.
It feels like Disney has all the power here, though, right? I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely they do.
My kids tell me that I got every one of my TV sets has to be a smart TV to get YouTube. Is that wrong?
Well, all you got to do is get either a Fire Stick or a Roku. I mean, so for $30, you can upgrade every one of them to a smart TV.
Yeah. Oh, you can?
But let me ask you this, Bill, on YouTube TV. So, I like on DirecTV, I can just flip back and forth and turn the channel. You can't do that on YouTube TV, can you? You have to kind of exit back out of that channel. How do you get to the next channel quickly if you want to kind of bump back and forth and all over? Can you do that on YouTube TV?
Well, I mean, you can't do it by numbers. You can't do it like that. So you do have to. I will say though, they do have multi-screens if you want to watch multiple ball games at one time.
Yeah,
they've got that so you can watch it. It is a little clunky there, but I've been very pleased with at least what we're able to get.
Yeah, my only problem is we love to watch the Braves, and you can't get Bally Sports on YouTube.
You're right there. Right.
So what do we do about that, Bill?
Well, what
Fire Stick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got a couple of things. So depending on your internet provider, you may be able to get it there, or you can go with Philo, I believe, and it's something else. But yeah, you know what? They don't make it easy for you to be able to get everything, and it sure isn't. It sure isn't cheap when you have to try to figure the best way to get every single thing. That's the problem. I mean, I don't think there is a service anymore that you can get everything without paying a little bit extra.
Yeah, you got to think by Friday they're gonna have that thing settled. There's gonna be a lot of people canceling.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
People canceling.
Well,
stuff.
yeah. I mean, we used to have Dish, and the same thing happened there. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought when I watched South Carolina, I thought Robbie Ashford was better than that guy they started, Bill. Am I wrong about that? And of course, it's one game. I don't know. Did you see that South Carolina game?
I did not see it. I mean, I saw a couple of clips from it, and I know Ladaris Sellers is the guy that there's an awful lot of similarities actually between the two. I mean, you better have a quarterback that's more accurate. Apparently, they don't have anybody who's really accurate there at quarterback, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, yeah.
Is Bruce said anything we need to know about?
Bruce said once basketball season gets, he's going to get out of politics, but right now he's
I think so. So that's a good thing that we're about to get into practice here before long. But no, I haven't heard anything from him lately.
You gotta love Bruce, though. People are trying to make that a recruiting thing on him now, so they're trying to turn that on him. But I think Bruce will be fine in the recruiting game, don't you, Bill?
I think he's usually got an answer for what most people are throwing at him.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Bill, we appreciate it very much. Look forward to visiting with you next week. Got the Cal Bears coming in, so hopefully Auburn will play well. And I look forward to watching Peyton Thorne throw to these big-time receivers he's got there. So we'll see how they do. Appreciate you very. Hey, well, Dad's picking at you because he's 0-2 on his blue plate.
I'm not 0-2. My person didn't count.
He's 0-1. That's right. But he's wanting to know, because I just saw the line it was 13.5. It's down to 13. Is Auburn going to cover the 13?
They better.
I think they're ready to do so. I mean, we'll see. I mean, bad weather might be something that would get in there, but no, I think this team is. I think they've got a little bit of a mission right now, and I think Cal may be a little surprised when they see the difference in this team. So I think there's a pretty good chance of that. But then, like I said, I got off to a terrible start myself. So
yeah, like everybody did. Even Coach Saban can't pick games. He said, Texas A&M will beat Florida. Now Texas A&M will beat Notre Dame. How difficult it is to play, and that didn't happen. So yeah, even the greats like you and Coach Saban and Dad can't pick them. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Thank you, Bill. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, it's The Drive every day, 4 to 6 on ESPN 106.7. You can listen online at ESPNAU.com or go to RadioAlabama.net. And if you can't catch us live, check out the podcast. But if you do catch us live, I'd love for you to join in.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
I got it.
Chase, did you think Dad asked great questions in that interview? He's high on his questions today.
He did better.
Better? Crap, I do good every day.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's getting sensitive on you, Chase. All right, let's tell him about Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Well, I'm not sensitive about Bryant Bank. They've got 4 locations in Tuscaloosa and a lot of locations in Birmingham. Right below me, there's one location that I've been trading with for years. And I think it's a bank that you'll enjoy going into, visiting with the banker and visiting with the people that work around him, and also a very nice bank and one that can help you a great deal. Can have your money in the bank and know that it's going to be there forever, unless you take it out yourself. Nobody else is going to take it out for you, because that's pretty important. They do everything they possibly can to work with the community as well, which is important. If you need to borrow something, need a loan, need advice, they've got plenty of advice for you and willing to help you. And then the next time you go in there, they'll know you by your first name. So I think Bryant Bank is done well. I think they came into Tuscaloosa in 2005. I might need to be corrected on that, but I think that's right. I don't know for sure, but they did, I think. And I think there are people that have the same zip code, have the same area code just about that you do, except maybe it's for those down in the Gulf Shores area. So go by Bryant Bank, tell them you heard on Inside the Locker Room, and get an account, and we'll appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, we got some app messages coming in. Valleys. Did I say something wrong? They said, Barry, you can connect. You are correct. No valleys on YouTube. I don't know. What does that mean, no valleys?
How can I fix
Drives my mother absolutely insane.
Can you get somebody to fix my TVs for me?
What do you mean fix them?
Well, I put them on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do it. Just give it till Friday. And then if they don't do it Friday, then have Caroline and them come over there and just hook you up to theirs till they get it fixed, and you'll be fine. Somebody's telling me to use Fubo. Is that right? Fubo TV. You know anything about that, Jay? He be talking about Hulu. Is Hulu good? They say you get all the ESPN Pluses on Hulu.
Hulu's okay. My girlfriend has it, but we just stick to sometimes Fubo that comes in to play. I know we're going to get DirecTV, but
what's a Fire Stick?
It's like it's the deal. It's basically a Roku. You plug. You got one upstairs on one of your TVs up there.
But I ain't never hooked it up. Blake gave it to me. I ain't never hooked it up.
You can get to YouTube TV on that because it'll turn your TV basically into a smart TV. Is what it does. So, but you gotta know how to hook all that stuff up.
I can't hook anything up.
If you get logged out, then you're going to be. It's going to end up making you madder than you want to be. So just hope that they say if you call right now and complain to DirecTV, they'll take $20 off your bill. $20? Come on, ain't nothing. They're going to be dropping out like flies come Friday if that thing is not fixed. I can just tell you that right now. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, let's say hello and goodbye to this earlier accident, and the key word is earlier there. On 43 southbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard, they just cleared that out of the way. Now I do see where you do still have a slight bit of delays still, and mostly on the McFarland westbound on-ramp to northbound 40.
Doing these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partly sunny today with only a small chance of a shower through tonight. The high today 87, tonight's low 68. Tomorrow and Friday cloudy with periods of rain both days. The high tomorrow 81, the high Friday at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Need to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, I'm going to put your AD hat on, Dad. You're the AD. I'm going to put you at two different schools. I'm going to give you two different scenarios. You're the AD at Clemson. Now, their AD there, his name's Graham Neff. He's a young guy. He's 40, I think, years old. Dabo, pretty sensitive guy, has built up a lot of credibility there over the years. Clemson's a great job, a great place to live, just really nice. He comes out after the Georgia game and he says, and I quote, well, Georgia does that to a lot of teams. So he's kind of justifying getting spanked 34-3. He has not used the portal. He's been pretty stubborn about that. NIL, I don't know whether he has or he hadn't. Some people say he used a lot of his NIL to maintain the players they got, Peter Woods, those guys. If you're the athletic director at Clemson, do you have a meeting with Dabo and say, hey, we need to change some things here? Is it too early to do that? Hey, we got at least work the portal a little bit. Or you just let football people run the football and you just say, hey, I'm here for you. If you need anything, are you going to give him some suggestions if you're the AD at Clemson?
Did he hire him?
No.
He did not hire him?
No.
I take the second part.
I don't think he hired him. He's been at Clemson since 2013. I'm not sure how long, but he was associate AD. You say you'd leave him alone?
Yeah.
All right.
I think the first half wasn't that bad. I think Georgia's good, but I don't think the first half was that bad. I think the league is weak. You got Miami, and then after Miami, you don't have anybody else that's really good. Besides, Virginia could be decent, but I think he's going to, be. And I think that they've got a shot. Miami beats them. I don't know.
So you would leave him alone? You wouldn't?
I would. Yeah.
Would you just say, "Hey, Coach, you're our guy. We're here for you. Anything you need." I think Dabo knows. They've given him everything he needs. They got top facilities there. So, all right, now let me flip this. If you're
now if he says that to the athletic director doesn't want to say now, Mr. AD, we need you to give us some money. You don't want to hear that. The AD.
But what if the AD's probably got some big money people complaining to him, saying,
"Oh, I know he does."
So does he just defend Dabo to him? He listened to him. What does he say to those guys?
Let's give ourselves time.
So
our football team is not that bad. Let's cool it and give ourselves time.
All right. If you're Florida's AD, there's people now thinking Florida. They got Samford this weekend. Then they have Texas A&M. They're at Mississippi State. They got UCF. They got to go to Tennessee. They got Kentucky. They got to go to Georgia. Last 4 or 5 games, they got to go to Georgia, go to Texas, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, and go to Florida State. A lot of people saying they're going to be 2-10. If you're Scott Strickland, do you call? They owe this guy $26 million supposedly, Billy Napier. Do you bring him in and say, Coach, you're our guy. Just work as hard as you can. Keep your head down. He got on the press conference and I don't think he meant anything by it, but he talked about some, the players don't need to be listening to some guy, down in some part of Florida in his basement criticizing them or whatever. They just got to keep working. Do you just stay silent with Billy Napier knowing all the noise is out there about this is going to be his last year, they're going to fire him, or do you bring him in and just talk to him and just kind of try to pick him up a little bit? How do you handle that if you're the athletic director?
You stay silent.
Yeah.
You stay silent.
That's kind of bad if you're Billy Napier, right?
You already know that everybody's after you. You understand all that. They're going to be mad at every game that you lose, especially since he's on the hot seat to start with. And he's on the hot seat with the world's toughest schedule. Nobody's got a tougher schedule the way it feels. He doesn't have a schedule like Texas. So I think that you probably have visited with him before the season started in a positive way, not knowing how the Miami game was going to turn out. And I think you leave him alone.
I don't like it when they stay silent. He don't have to come out publicly, but I wish he would just say, Coach, hey, I'm here for you. Anything you need. I know it's tough right now. Just keep working. You don't have to say we're going to keep you, but I think when you stay silent, then he's wondering what's he thinking. When he gets home to his wife, of course now nobody wants to get fired ever, but if you get $26 million, you're probably feeling like, well, I mean, at the worst case scenario, I'm fine. If they let me go, I'm set for life. So I'm going to just grind on this thing as hard as I can. But it hurts recruiting with all that out there, obviously. So I think these athletic directors are in tough spots as to how they handle these guys after they've been there a year or two and then they're not doing well as to what do they do.
I just think silent. You're playing a Miami team that's surrounded by good players. From what I could, I didn't have the guts to call it my blue plate, but I had a feeling that Miami was going to play better than people thought, because I listened to other people that know more about it than I do. So I think we hold off and see. You've got a job to revamp your team. Not revamp is not the right word, to try to get your 10 leaders on your team in a meeting with you and your offensive and defensive coordinators, or just you yourself, and try to say, look, this game's over. We've got to put that behind us. You've got to have some player leadership. That's the big thing, and you've got to be able to talk to them, and they feel comfortable coming in there. And it's not so much the AD now; it is the leadership of the players with.
I probably would. I don't know if Billy Napier's in the strong enough position to say this, but I would say, guys, we got to schedule smarter. Like, we can't play Miami when we're down. We got to get our program back up. We got to get some wins early to build a little momentum. We got to think about this in the future, that we're not putting ourselves in these situations. Like, everybody's probably happy at Arkansas right now. They're happy down there at Auburn. They ain't beat nobody.
Well, that's exactly right. That's the reason I say your opening game you need to win. I always believe that.
Yeah. All right, let's take this last break. We'll get squeezing, and then we'll get out of here for the Gary Harris Show. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of The Game, we're going to take your scores, your predictions, your analysis. We will do that starting at 2 p.m. We're also going to feature Aaron Torres, Fox Sports national analyst, Josh from College Football Nerds, all starting at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, let's say hello and goodbye to this earlier accident, and the key word is earlier there. On 43 southbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard, they just cleared that out of the way. Now I do see where you do still have a slight bit of delays still, and mostly on the McFarland westbound on-ramp to northbound 43.
Birmingham. Plus, don't miss our grand opening celebration Friday, October the 11th through Sunday, October 13th. And check us out at academy.com with free shipping on purchases over $25.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partly sunny today with only a small chance of a shower through tonight. The high today 87, tonight's low 68. Tomorrow and Friday, cloudy with periods of rain both days. The high tomorrow 81, the high Friday at 76. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside. That'll do it for today's show. Dad, the final word for today. You still study on that blue plate. Blue plate. You going to do the blue plate Thursday or Friday this week?
Friday, I think. Friday, I'm still studying. I got 4 games I'm trying to figure out.
All right, that's brought to you by Chuck Norwood and the RE/MAX Realty team. Chuck's been wanting us to get him a game picked right, so we got to get it for him this week. The Chuck Norwood team, RE/MAX Realty, looking to buy or sell down in the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach area, then Chuck Norwood is your guy. Go to chucknorwood.com. Call him up, 251-948-1212. The Gary Harris Show is next, so keep it locked in. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.